What's up, big bro?
What's happening?
Not much. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. How about you?
Doing well. I appreciate you taking the time to hop on here and have this conversation with me. Hope you had a good week so far.
Yeah, for sure. I'm honored to be asked to do this. So,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Seeds of Greatness podcast. I'm your host, William Castro, and today I have Brent Bailey with us, and he's going to drop not only his experience, but some wisdom and just trying to get people to understand the realities of not only the criminal justice system, but if anybody feels stuck, you're not necessarily out of the race. It just might be a little difficult patch. So without further ado, I'll let you introduce yourself and dive into your story.
Yeah, so my name is Brent Bailey. And how I kind of got involved in all of this is back in the late 90s, I end up going to prison. And so coming out of prison at that time, and I left out April 21st, 2004. So that's when I got out. And reentry was kind of just getting started. It was especially here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so it was very young. A lot of people figuring out what it's going to look like, what we're going to do. But I was in at Cherry Street in Winston-Salem, and so there was this pilot program that started, which is now it's Project Reentry.
Mm.
And so they have people over at the Goodwill here
Mhm.
in Asheville. But they first pilot program, first class ever, I was in the first class of Project
That's what's
Reentry.
up. That's what's
Yeah.
up.
And it was just really about like letting people know about resources,
Mhm.
resource information, getting you started thinking about what you're going to do when you release. And, me personally, I had already been thinking about a lot of that, but I
Right,
understand everybody's situation is not the same as mine.
right.
And so I end up being released. I went down and met with them. They end up actually helping me get back in school,
Mm.
community college. I was going there, community college. I was working. I
Mm.
was already
You were
married. I
staying
was
busy.
married. Yeah, staying busy. I was married
Right.
before I went in. So,
Mm.
I'm out. I got these responsibilities, married, kid, all these different things. So,
Right.
over time, you kind of get your feet up underneath you, and I kind of lost contact with them, which is good. Our reentry program, we ain't really designed to be there with you forever.
Right,
We want
right.
to kind of be that boost when you first get out, get you going, and
Right.
then you get in a position you can help somebody else. But so anyway, I kind of lost contract. Well, years later, I'm working at this crisis shelter for teenagers.
Mhm.
And so then I'm looking for something else. And I was looking for something part-time, but I
Mhm.
come across the job posting and it was Goodwill. Now,
Mhm.
when I went through Project Reentry, they had no partnerships with Goodwill. So I get out. This is 6 years later. So now
Gotcha.
we're in 2010. And so
Mhm.
I was like, it was like prison reentry specialist or whatever. So I was
Mhm.
like, man, I'm gonna apply for this. Just to see what happens
Yeah, let's
because
see.
this is a nugget of wisdom right here, right? You miss every shot you don't take.
That's a
And so
fact.
I said, I'm going to apply. I'm going to take a shot at it. I mean, the worst you can do is tell me no. And
Right,
it wouldn't have been
right,
the first time I had heard no. So I
right.
end up applying. I get an interview. I go to the interview and I turn the corner and I
Mhm.
see the lady, Rebecca, who started this years ago, right? And now I'm kind of putting two and two together.
Yeah,
Well, they had already looked me up, right? When I had applied, and
yeah,
then they scheduled the interview. So now they looking me up. So they seen I went through their class, all these. I didn't even know this. Now,
yeah.
now, Castro, here's the part right here. They interviewed 13 people that day.
Dang,
And out of the
13.
13 people they interviewed, I was the only convicted felon they interviewed. Come to find out, they said I was the only one who applied.
Wow, that's
And,
crazy.
and well, I'm telling you why, because a lot of other ones saw it, but they
Yeah,
didn't take the shot
right,
because they thought in their mind they're not going to hire me, so I'm not
right,
even going to apply. And
right. They
so
shut the door on themselves.
that's right. And that's why I tell people, I don't care what it say, what their policies say, any of that. If you want it, go for it. The
That's a
worst they
fact.
can do is tell you no.
Right. They're not
But it's
taking
all
nothing from you.
that's right. But just definitely know if you don't apply.
That's a fact.
And
That's deep.
so
I want
that
to
so
before you go on, there's something that I've heard you say in rooms, and I want you to say it here. you use an analogy about the boosters on a rocket. Can you, because you talked about you lost touch with them and you understood like there was no hard feelings, like they weren't supposed to walk with you for the rest of your life. Can you tell the people that analogy? Because I love that analogy.
Yeah, so we view our reentry programs like we're trying to give you that boost when you first get out. So when you look at the rockets that go into space, when they take off, they have the boosters on the side
Mhm.
because they help them get off the ground. But they get to a certain point in the air where the boosters fall off and they start to fly on their own. And
I
so
love that.
ultimately, you can get to your destination and you're going to reach your mission. You need
Mhm.
a little more help in the beginning, but we
Right.
not designed to hold your hand and carry you there the whole way.
I love that.
Yeah, Al, here it is. You need a boost, not a babysitter.
Hey, that's gonna be the title. A boost, not a babysitter.
I
Okay.
love it.
Okay, so you're the only convicted felon that applied, and you've been through their program. So I'm guessing. Well, tell us how it turned out. I'm not gonna guess.
All right, so I get the job. So
That's
13
what's up.
people interview, I get the job. And this was to launch a new site in Wilkes County. So
Okay.
now my job is to go back into prisons,
Mm.
teaching these classes, and then helping individuals once they release. So you do the
How
pre-release
did that
classes,
feel?
then you help them. It was very therapeutic.
Was
It's
it?
very therapeutic, very cathartic to walk into prison and know when you go in
Yeah.
2 hours, I'm leaving. I don't care
In
what's
two
going
hours, I
on.
could walk
Yeah.
out.
And Castro, I was so serious. I found out like if you in there and the count don't clear, then you got to wait till the count clear. So I
Mhm.
would schedule my classes to happen in between counts. So don't do no count while I'm here.
Don't do
So
no count.
if you count at 9 in the morning and then
Uh-huh.
you count at 1 p.m., my class
Yep.
from 10 to noon.
Hey, there you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
I'm not
Listen,
even gonna be here when y'all call count because I already
listen.
know halftime y'all can't count.
Right. And I can only imagine you going in there thinking about it because just you saying being stuck in there during count time made my palms start sweating. And another thing that I wanted to highlight was you said that you applied for that job in 2010. So you were getting into reentry right after I got locked up because I got locked up December 3rd of 2009 and I got out May 20th, 2022. So you were starting in reentry when I was starting my bid.
When you was starting in prison, yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
That's
So
wild. That's wild.
that is. So walk me through how long did you do that program and what was the success rate of that program?
So I stayed in that position for about a little over 5 years.
That's what's up.
Fun fact, I was doing pre-release class in the prison in Salisbury when
Mhm.
Philip Cooper was finishing his sentence at the facility.
That's what's up.
And at the time, like
Uh-huh.
it was once, and at the time, I'm in Wilkes. I'm not in Asheville. I actually
Yeah,
got transferred to Asheville. I'm
that's
at
what's
AB
up.
Tech one day. I
Uh-huh.
see Philip. He see
He
me.
walk
He
in.
like, you the dude doing the class. Like I didn't in prison. Philip had dreads.
Yeah,
Right now, he over there working at AB Tech. He had his hair cut, so I didn't even
yeah.
really recognize him at
He said
first.
you
But
the dude doing the class.
yeah, he's like, you the dude doing the class.
Hey, that's him too. Like straight to it.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That is really
And,
cool.
and, and so I did that for about 5.5 years. And then
Mhm.
during that time, about late 2013, they started forming these reentry councils.
Mhm.
So when we started forming the one in Buncombe, Mark Seiler was one of those people to kind of head that up. So
Yeah.
when they got funding and they said, "All right, we need some employees,"
Yeah.
Mark said, "I'll run it for 6 months." He said, "But I'm
Mhm.
telling you, 6 months and one day, I'm leaving."
Right.
Mark was the coordinator. They had a guy named James who was the case manager.
Yeah.
And when it was about time for Mark to leave, they kind of recruited me and brought me over. And so
That's what's
I've
up.
been in that position since February 2015.
Okay. Now for the people that aren't familiar with the work that we do, what can you talk about what a reentry council is and what they do?
So basically, we kind of assist people as they're returning to the county from prison, from incarceration in prison. And typically, the assistance comes in one of four buckets, right?
Okay.
Employment, housing, transportation, and then educational and vocational goals.
Okay. Okay.
And so people come in, they kind of share with us what their goals are in those areas, and then we seek to assist them and support them. And, working in conjunction with other community agencies
Mhm.
that are doing similar work. So to make sure, because we all working with limited resources, and
Right.
just to make sure that we everybody can kind of get the most they can or as much as they can as they coming
Right.
out to get the help they need.
Right. That's pretty cool. And I know firsthand how important the work that you do is because working for Operation Gateway, we get the list of the people returning home to Buncombe County from you at the Re-entry Council, and then we know who to contact in order to start forming the plan. So we'd have a really hard time doing that without you and without like your team. So we do appreciate you guys up there. Um,
Absolutely.
did you ever see yourself, like, especially when you were locked up, did you ever see yourself working in this field?
No.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. And I mean, honestly, I'm coming out and I'm just thinking like, I just want to work, right? I
That's
just want a
it.
job. I want to
That's
make
it.
some decent money. I want to be able to take care of myself.
Right.
And I hadn't even thought about a career, if you would, in like human services.
Right.
And what got me there was, all right, I was working at this plant. And Cass, it was a pie job, man. We worked 12 hours a day. The
Yeah.
machine pretty much doing the work. We
Right.
working 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through
Mhm.
Friday, then
Mhm.
going to work 8 hours on Saturday. It's
Mm.
28 hours overtime, time and a half. Man, my bank account was growing. Man, I'm making money. And like I'm at work so much I can't even spend the money. Like
Right. Right.
this before a bunch of online shopping.
Yeah. You on work release, basically.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, yeah. And so I did have work release. I used to send
Yeah,
my
I
money
did
home. I
too.
mean, I was married before I went in.
That's right. That's right.
So
That's
I
right.
could send all my money home. I mean,
That's what's up.
they gonna keep that $40 and make you draw that. But outside
Right.
of that, no, y'all not finna draw the interest off my money. I
So let
said, oh,
me let me ask, let me stop you there because you just hit on something that I want your expertise on. So for the people that are watching that don't understand work release or how it can be beneficial not only to the individual but to the community and their family members, can you talk a little bit about what work release is and how you were able to support your family from inside a prison?
yeah, work release is you get to leave the facility each day and work a job in the community and get paid pretty much the same as the people in the community make. And then you just have to return to the prison every day.
Mhm.
But so you get released every day to go to work. And then pretty much it's gonna be Monday through Friday. There were
Mhm.
some people in there that had 7 day a week jobs,
Right.
weekend jobs. As long as it's cleared, your employer can get you the whole nine, everything's
Mhm.
good. Now you have to pay the prison per
Right.
diem each day to leave a facility, and they send you with that little pack out and all this stuff. And but
Yeah.
it's supposed to be designed so you can save money,
Right.
and then you'll have a little something as you release to help you out when you
Right.
transitioning back to the community. And clearly, there are some guys. It's not most, but there are some guys who leave with nice chunks of money.
Right.
But
Right.
me, what happened with what the prison system does though, like if you put $1,000 a month goes in there, well, they're gonna draw the interest, and then the 1,000 is yours, but whatever
Yeah.
interest is drawn, they're gonna keep.
Right.
Which is fine. It's still a good deal to leave the prison
Right.
each day and go to work. But if you married, if you got child support, kids, if you
Mhm.
want to help family out different things, there are ways to do it where you can take that money and send it home.
Right. Right.
And
So you can
so,
still support your household or at least help support your household. And that gives you a little bit of your dignity back while you're
yeah,
locked up. That's really cool. I appreciate you
it
breaking that down.
it also keep your family together while you're doing that time, right?
That's a
Like,
fact.
if you married and then you go to prison,
Mhm.
and I mean, I'm not saying it's the prison system's fault or
Right.
responsibility. Like I did what I did, so I go to
Right.
prison. But it helps to keep your family together because even though I'm in prison, I'm still able to support my family. So
Right.
it don't keep my wife in some compromising position where she
Right.
now got to feel like she got to go out and do things and make things
Right.
happen. So she's
Right.
still been able to get that financial support.
Right.
And I had that for about the last 2.5 years of my sentence.
That's what's up. I know I got a chance to be on work release and we got taken out of work for like 16 and a half months because COVID happened. And like it was tough. I mean, I can't imagine how difficult it would be to be locked down in your home. So that's a little strange to me. But I do remember feeling like a pretty good sense of purpose going to work every day. And I got to pay off a whole bunch of restitution. I mean, I still owe a whole lot of restitution because they were charging me like $12.95 a day interest, but that's a whole nother conversation.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, but it definitely is an incentive. I know people in there that as they got closer to their minimum and they got to honor grade and they were told that they could qualify for work release, like they straightened all the way up. Like it wasn't no more craziness, no more getting into trouble. But and I hope that they continue to expand the work release program because there are some studies, and I wish I had the statistics in front of me, but the earning potential to the quality of life, everything for the individuals who go through the prison system and have taken part in the work release program, they earn more, their employment retention is higher, the recidivism rate is lower. So I hope that that program continues, and I hope it continues to grow and expand, especially out here in Western North Carolina, because some of these camps got hundreds of people and 2 people on work release. So
And we got jobs.
yeah, we got jobs. We definitely got jobs. So talk to me about some of those other 3 buckets. Like what type of jobs can you connect individuals to that are coming home from prison looking for work particularly?
I tell folk and a lot of people get their own jobs. So I want to be fair about that. Like, it's not like they dependent on us and they
Right.
only get the jobs we got connections with. But I tell people, like, whatever you want to do, then you need to apply for that and work towards that. If you
Yeah.
need some kind of certification for that, like, go do it. Don't
Right.
think that you're not going to get a job in that field or be hired solely because of your background.
Mhm.
It might be people already there. But some of the kind of jobs we deal with is clearly it's Asheville, hospitality,
Right.
hotels,
Right. Right.
resorts, restaurant work. And
Right.
a lot of people like frown on restaurant. Look, I ain't talking about Taco Bell, but I know
Right.
people that want it. I know a girl who got out, went to work at Subway. She's
Mhm.
still at Subway today. Now she the manager, but she's
Mm.
still at Subway today. Like some people,
That's
they
what's
fine
up.
with that. That's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Manufacturing jobs, warehouse. So honestly, any kind of work that's out here,
Mhm.
and the more skills you have, the less your background is gonna matter. Because if
That's
I
a
need a
fact.
diesel mechanic, it ain't a
Ooh,
lot of
that's a
them.
good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
it ain't a lot of them out here. So
Yeah.
if you show up and you know what you're doing and you got the certification, I'm gonna have to look past that background a little bit because I
That's a
need you.
fact. That's a
Yeah.
fact. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And I know that regardless of what people think, some of these jobs can just be stepping stones. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to wait for the perfect job, the perfect opportunity. And my first job was at a restaurant when I first got out. Shout out to 131 Main in Biltmore Park. Yeah, they hired me like that 6 days after getting out. And I was upfront about it with them because there was no way that they were going to say that I lied and X, Y, and Z. No, I just had to go ahead and tell them. So
Yeah, let's get it out the way, right?
yeah, yeah. If it's a problem, let's find out. I don't want to waste your time. And you know what I'm saying? If it's a problem, I just want to know. So this is the point in the conversation where I try to start honing in on lessons or like action steps and whatnot. So um I had somebody tell me that I should phrase it, since the name of the show is Seeds of Greatness, that when you give me an idea, if you tell me something, a piece of wisdom, like you're basically planting a seed, because now when your words hit my ears, my brain comes up with a picture and it'll start growing if I take care of it. So what are 2 to 3 seeds of wisdom that you've gained over your years, before, during, post incarceration, working in this field, that you think can help somebody who may feel stuck in their current position or circumstance?
So I'll say this too about talking about the seeds of greatness. So it's different things that can be seeds in your life, and one are decisions.
Mm,
Every decision you make is a seed.
that's deep.
Decisions are the seeds you sow today to get the harvest or outcome you want tomorrow.
Whew, that's
And
deep.
so you got to think about that every time you're
Mhm.
making a decision, because that's what your life is. At the end of the day, your life is going to be the sum total of the decisions you made.
I like that.
And so it's that so when we talk about that, I always share that with people too. Like, that's why we can't be impulsive. That's
Right,
why you got to be prepared.
right.
You ain't gonna get nothing out if you ain't putting nothing in.
Man, that's the
You
truth.
know, invest in yourself.
Right.
Every time I buy a book, I look at that as an investment in myself. So I can buy somebody's book, and I'm talking about I don't do fiction.
Right. Right. Right.
I probably haven't read a fiction book in 25 years.
Let's
But
go.
but like you talk about like life lessons, I'll get somebody book on their life. Now this
Mm,
somebody, and I don't care what the price is. I'm investing in me, and I'm about to find out in a couple hours reading
yeah.
what it took them 30, 40 years to learn.
Ooh, that's deep.
And that's
That's
how I
deep.
look at that. And when you
Yeah.
put all that in, it works in your mind. It goes through
Hmm.
filters and it helps you make these decisions. So
Yeah.
the decision, every decision, it's a seed you sow today to get the result, the harvest you want tomorrow.
Ooh, that's what's
All right.
up.
So this is another seed of wisdom, if you would, I
Okay.
share with
Let's
people.
go.
Everything has a price.
Okay.
Everything just don't have a price tag.
Mm.
Ain't, ain't nothing free. It's gonna cost you something.
Right.
You just don't always know what the cost is going to be up
Man,
front.
that's so deep. That's a
And
fact.
so, yeah, you can't go into anything thinking, oh, this is, oh, it's, oh, no,
Yeah, this
I ain't got
sweet.
to put nothing on. Yeah, it's sweet. I ain't got to put nothing on this, no skin in this. No, sooner or later, like you're going to have an investment. It's going to cost you something.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Another seed. All right,
All
two
right.
more. All
Two
right,
more.
another
Okay, let's
seed.
go.
All right. Whatever you're not changing, you're choosing.
Ooh. Say that again. Say that
Whatever
again.
you're not changing, you're choosing.
Oh, I like that.
So you want
Yeah.
to complain about it, change it. Because if you're not going to do something to change it, you actually
You choosing
choosing
it.
that.
Yeah, so stop complaining about it.
Oh, yep. Oh, definitely stop complaining to me about it. If you're not willing to do something to change it.
Oh gosh.
All right.
Okay.
Last one. I share
Last
this with
one.
everybody coming out
All
because
right.
when you coming out of
Oh
prison, you
gosh.
got that background. It's
Mhm.
inevitable. You're going to hear some no's.
Right.
When you hear no, it's not rejection, it's redirection.
I like that.
It's just pushing you in the path you're supposed to be going. Because if they
Yeah.
tell you no, that's fine. It's not where you're supposed to be.
I wanna say something to that because I have that same mentality. I just phrase it a little bit different. I love the way you phrased it, but what I tell individuals, and I just had this conversation with Seneca like day before yesterday. I said, you imagine you're an unstoppable force, right? I'm an unstoppable force. Every individual is an unstoppable force. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? It changes
Collision.
direction. It
Yeah.
changes direction. If no matter what I do, you're not going to move, I'll be the dummy but to keep banging my head trying to move you. I'll just change direction. That's why I like to call myself the pivot king cuz
I
like
like that.
you ain't about to bog me down. Like it don't matter what circumstance I face at work or whatever, it's my choice to keep banging my head against the wall or just look for something different. So I love the way you put it. I love that.
I like what you said too, like the pivot king,
For
because what it
real.
means is I got options.
That's it. That's it.
You might try to box me in and make me say,
Mm-mm.
because I got this background, I can only do this or that. Well, I'll pivot and show you.
That's
So if
it.
that's a no, I got options.
Right.
And sometimes, Castro, I got to go create my own option. I used
That's
to
a
tell
fact.
folks, if they shut the door on you, climb through the window, just don't catch a B&E in the process.
Just don't catch a peony.
A
I like
shut door, that don't stop nothing.
it ain't gonna stop it because at the end of the day, if we can't control the circumstance, we still control our choice, like you said. So the faster we get to know, I remember when I was in sales, because like the second or third job I got, I was in sales. And when I'm going door to door, knocking on doors. And like you would think that the nose hurt, especially like some people come to the door and they got shotguns and all kind of crazy stuff. But that is scary. Don't get me wrong. But the faster you get a no, if you start embracing the no and just looking for the no and moving on to the next one, it doesn't hurt anymore. And it keeps us from wasting our time because why am I going to talk to you for an hour and a half just for you to tell me no? Tell me no in the
Yeah.
first 2 minutes. That way I could go ahead and look for something else. But like you said, you cannot try to box me in. And every no is not a representation of who I am as an individual, who you are as a human being. It's just we might not be for everybody, and that's okay. I'd rather go ahead and find out. I'm not for this person. I'm not for this organization. I'm over here. So I just go ahead and get it out the way. But you ain't about to like control me. And I believe that resilience is something we talk about all the time. But what we don't talk about all the time is agility, especially agility of thought, because sometimes things are not going to go exactly the way we think and plan for them to go. So in that moment, what do? Do we start questioning ourselves, or do we continue to focus on finding solutions? And that's what I want everybody to try to remember. Like, okay, this might not work. They say, what's his name? Thomas Edison. They say he tried 10,000 times for the light bulb. I don't know anybody that would try anything 10,000 times, but kudos to him. Like,
I'm glad he did.
me too.
When that storm hit, and listen, without lights was a lot easier than without water.
That's a fact.
But imagine if you had water, didn't have lights, you'd have just been on the light thing. The reason it highlighted it a little bit because you had daylight and all that, but no running water was something serious.
Yeah, that was
but
tough.
I'm glad he did 10,001 and we got some electricity.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, and Western North Carolina and other states nearby are still working to rebuild after the storm. So y'all keep everybody in your prayers, and if you can lend a helping hand, please do. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and send us some money too. Hey, I'm serious, man. Like, some of the holdup has been funding not being released to certain areas so they can rebuild. It's a shame that we 8 and 9 months later and folks still don't have certain roads rebuilt and bridges rebuilt so they can get to their house in some areas. So
that's a fact. Some people still don't have water that is safe to drink.
And I mean, it's not, especially in this country, it's not for a lack of money.
Right. No, definitely not.
Because every time they want to do something, they find the money to send it to
that. Right.
So come on now. And all these people, you know, and Castro, we know we paying these taxes.
That's a fact. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for the wisdom. And I'm definitely going, when I talk to Coop tomorrow, I'm definitely going to tell him that I know that he came through your program. That is so cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, he did, man. He did. And I mean, I'm just like elated and flabbergasted too by all he's done. And one thing I say about Philip, and we used to talk about this before too, because he one of them ones. No, that's not rejection, it's redirection.
Yeah, it's redirection.
That's how OG came about.
It
was the things he was wanting to do. He would take it to these people, they wouldn't get behind it. And ultimately, you know what he said? I'll do it myself.
Yeah, look. Like you said, sometimes we got to do it ourselves.
And when you in those kind of positions, this is another one I give you, and we out of here. And you can ask Philip about this. I done told him, when we doing this, no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interests.
That's it. That's it. Common interest trumps everything.
That's right.
I like it. Well, I appreciate you. You have a great night. And let everybody know how to find the Justice Resource Center and the
All right, we up on the 14th and 15th floor of the Buncombe County Courthouse. So I recommend you call 828-250-6401, schedule you an appointment. I just want to make sure you don't waste a trip to the courthouse. But you can go up there to the 14th floor. There's somebody at the window, and you can start right there. Just let them kind of know who you are and what you're looking to do, and they'll get you guided accordingly.
And act like you got some sense when you go up there. We don't need
yeah, because we will. Hey, you start cutting up, we're going to refuse service.
There you go. I appreciate your time. I'll talk to you soon, bro. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.